continue their upward trajectory. We'll find out how they plan to do so here today at the American Football Kickoff. Welcome everyone to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm Maria Tribal Peace alongside Rini Ngolia and Lige Duzable. Guys, last year we had a ton of fun covering the American Conference, and just this week the headlines have been pretty fun to follow.
I mean, football is back, guys.
Yeah.
I'm excited, more specifically in the American Conference. Just look at last year. Army, first year in the conference, go on to win the championship. Who is going to be this year's dark horse? And then with the turnover of rosters in college football, who's going to build that continuity to help their team get success early this season?
It's one of the most competitive conferences, top to bottom in the nation. And let's not forget, 6 new coaches once again. We'll call Blake Harrell new, even though he had a great end to his season last year at ECU. But yeah, 6 new coaches, as you said, Lige, new faces. I'm excited for this season.
And we'll get to
the crowd craves competition and carnage reckoners. Will you earn their favor?
Thanks, Maria. Excited to be here at the American Football Kickoff here in Charlotte. And while you guys get the opportunity to chat with the several coaches throughout the day, I'm excited to bring the players' perspective here at the players' desk. It's going to be a lot of fun getting to know these teams throughout the day, but just really excited to talk all things American football today. Back to you, Maria.
Well, we are very excited to talk to players and coaches, and as we already mentioned, there's 6 new ones, and we'll be able to speak with them throughout the day.
The weapons make the warrior.
At the podium, then we'll talk to all 14 of those head coaches. GridironReady will then join us on the desk. We're going to ask them some fun questions that we think the American Conference is doing, but
engage
today, lots of football today. Man, I'm excited.
Buckle in if you like the narrative. Lots of information there.
Well, we'll keep you posted. Let's start with those 6 new players. We took over as interim last year, but Tulsa, Florida Atlantic, also some new ones. When you guys look at that list of those people, who stands out to you?
There's a couple of names on there that's kind of like the young gunners, and then we have the wide
The ring is closer.
Was that Taylor that was the Sam using? He's going back to the North. Zach Kigley and then Trey Lamb. We got the answer second.
I believe, Maria, every coach was specifically picked. You talk about this, the very unique offense. Something that Temple's been looking for. So they all bring something specific to their coach. I can't wait to see year 1, all those guys.
Team Sentinels won the round.
And just this excitement to start something new has been what really stood out to me. Some of them don't, though, because there are a couple teams last year in the American who were in that CFP conversation. And so we're going to talk about those teams as well, but looking at this season, who do you think will be those CFP contenders?
I think when you look at it, Nate, the way they were able to finish the season, they had some bumps in the road midway through when their quarterback Blake Horvath got hurt. Tulane was hot last year, and then kind of faltered in the back half.
Lord Vladimir revels among the audience. This will be a banquet of butchery!
Ryan Silverfield and Memphis Tigers. A lot of turnover on that roster, but you can never count them out.
Tulane and Memphis.
A selection from our wealthiest warlords.
They are changing quarterbacks, right? New quarterbacks in there. So it's college football. Football in large is driven by quarterback play. You better have elite quarterback play. So we'll see early on. That's why I like Navy and Blake Horvath, because you know what he brings back. So we'll see. That's what's so great about college football now. I know the portal drives people, but what it does do, it spreads talent around the nation, and we see roster up people and turnover, so you never really know what you're going to get out of your program.
Well, I know that you talked about Blake Horvath, and you mentioned some of those quarterbacks, but then you take a look at some of those.
Begin!
Somebody that we're not paying attention to, and they're going to help coming into the season.
I mean, we talk about one of those players. That's there who comes over, and he has big shoes to fill. Memphis Tigers. Turnover and
look at all the quarterbacks that John Summerall will be picking from this
Selection stage.
It has the cadence. Went to Ball State, MAC freshman of the year. You see his numbers right there in just 1 year. Threw for nearly 3,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He's a guy that I heard has
the Empire.
Not the biggest quarterback, but he brings that chip and aggressiveness on the field each and every day. So before the Retzlaff transfer, I thought he had the leg up and potentially winning that starting job for Tulane.
And they will have a true quarterback competition. Remember, Darian Mentor, who won the job at Tulane last year, who's now gone and at Duke. No one thought he was going to be the starter. He wasn't on the radar at all. Just I'm going to start if you guys don't get your act together, and they ended up starting him. He had a tremendous season. So it's going to be a true quarterback competition. I think those four guys will embrace that, and it's going to bring out the best.
It's a good point. Stop! Also, the rest of the quarterbacks, you have to understand what Summerall has done in this guy.
Yeah.
Right? The guy that has all the hype, whether it was Ty Thompson, I thought he was going to be the starting quarterback.
Good job, not promising.
The job is not
conversation late in the year, and then they lost their last few games, and then they were out of it. And so what we're talking about the American in the CFP,
for our prosperity and yours,
finish out the season, you know, not just the game, but the time.
Sometimes you gotta be a little lucky.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Navy. If Blake Horvath potentially doesn't get hurt, they're in that conversation as well. So you gotta have some luck on your side when it comes to being healthy throughout the season. And then it's also about finishing. We're talking about that Tulane loss in the second game at the end. Army got stronger as the season went on, and they propelled them into the conference championship.
The need for restraint is over.
Having that preparedness attitude and also finishing strong is what's going to prepare you to potentially get into the season.
Attack!
First and foremost, you have to win your conference championship, right?
Yeah.
So you got to weather all the stuff we just talked about. Along with your conference play, and let's take a look at the field later. While that game's finishing up, Boise State and USF, you got ECU and North Carolina State of the Military Bowl last year. I was on X this morning. Dave Dorn had some curious things to say about ECU, so bulletin board material for the Pirates for sure. And you just look at the host teams. Look at that one down in the right corner, Maria. North Carolina, Charlotte.
They have a new head coach, right? North Carolina.
Yeah,
I think I've heard of him
some
before.
guy that's won a few Super Bowls, I think.
Just a couple, right?
Going to be taking on Tim Elvin.
Okay, another new head coach in the American, and so these are just a couple of the games. We have even more, guys, and when we take a look at some of those,
Flip to another page.
Another page, why not? Okay, for me on this one, I like that Navy Notre Dame. I'm circling that because I think Navy won some revenge last year. They were
For the thrill of combat, we spare no expense.
They had to get back on track, so that's
Summerall gave him an opportunity. He took full advantage of it. And transfer portal and NIL. But he's not going to have any friends in Yoma Stadium this year.
No, I'm excited to see the signs, Rini. I don't know about you.
Well, don't forget, you just mentioned it. These players are making money, and a lot of them are getting paid handsomely. And I'm going to take a wager that Darian Menton is, I think, quarterback that last year goes to in the ACC. So, yeah, there will be no love lost. The fans are going to let them have it. Not just the students, but the older fans as well. So it's going to be a hostile environment. So another great non-conference game that we talked about for the Americans.
And then to that point, here's that power in that defense. He played against we want to get after him. This dude left us, right? We had an opportunity to potentially finish strong. He left us, but that was the middle here. But we want to get after him. Fight! There's probably there'll be some So, but I think the back end of Navy's schedule to me gets very tough. So what we talked about earlier, you just got to kind of pace yourself, and you've got to stay healthy. You know, and you're gonna, you get into November, you're going to be beat up. You know, so we'll see how that plays out.
So those are a couple of I think the fun part about this is when it comes December and we're sitting back up there on a desk talking about who's in our championship game, our predictions might be something.
Your heads are on the block.
People thought Army were going to finish, and then they had Bryson Daly. They just took off, right? They had I want to say,
Reckon!
but they took care of the position they were supposed to be put on the that team that was playing. They made sense to me.
from Charlotte, and the newly anointed chair of our ADs group is also with us. Welcome to CFP Executive Director Rich Clark and his staff. Fiesta, Independence, and Orange Bowls, and ESPN events. We have two exceptional leaders in the American retiring this year. Navy Athletic Director Chet Gladchuk, truly a fixture in the industry. The guy's been around longer than the furniture. And USF's remarkable president, Maria Law. Their impact on the American and on student athletes really cannot be measured. Welcome to our football student athletes. To see you guys all over the place. We saw you in the hotel, seen you in the elevator, we saw you trying to hit some balls last night, try being the keyword. These 2 days are really about you. It's about hard work, it's about stories, and it's about the season ahead. 30 years ago, I was getting ready for my last training camp, and
Engage!
take it all in, feel lucky.
I hope he's
important. Like, you shine the light on student athletes. You are our storytellers. You play a vital role in what we're building and how we're elevating the American Conference. And always great to have fans here. Saw many of you outside. Thanks for joining us for Media Day. We hope you have a great time. So there was a recent tragedy in our conference office home state of Texas, particularly in Hill County, where the loss of life included many young people. We're praying every day for every family that was affected and for the first responders. I bring this up because it's important to be grateful for today. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. And whatever you do today, don't pass up the opportunity to tell people that you love how you feel about them. So I stood up here a year ago. I was 6 weeks into the job as commissioner of Football Media Day. What a smooth, uneventful year in college sports, right? Nothing happened. But the list of hot topics is growing, so let's talk about it. The House settlement. First thing, I want to thank our colleague conferences and the NCAA for serving as frontline defendants. It was a lot of work. The House settlement's historic. It marks a new era in collegiate athletics. It's not perfect. It's not flawless. It's a step towards modernization, what this industry desperately needs. While we were not a defendant in that case, we opted in, including to the revenue sharing model. Why? It's critical to the future and another illustration of our commitment to consistently invest in student athletes. It's also important that we wrap our arms around, and it's not easy to do, everything that's happening in Washington, D.C. right now. Federal engagement in college athletics is intensifying. Why? Because it's important and people care about it. President Trump issued an executive order saving college sports, creating federal guidelines for name, image, and likeness, for protections of non-revenue sports. Meanwhile, Congress is introducing and advancing two contrasting bills, the SCORE Act, which has been cleared by the committee and is headed to the House, and the athlete-centric College Athlete Economic Freedom Act. These actions underscore the growing pressure to establish a uniform national standard for compensating and protecting student athletes while preserving the viability of non-revenue sports. We also have to ensure Title IX compliance within. There's a lot of things going on that are moving. Why? Because people care so much about this thing. The outcome of these efforts will redefine the structure of college athletics. It will never look the same. Is the employment model the answer? Could it solve some of the challenges? I want to know how that model will protect our Olympic sports athletes. Here's one thing I do know. Compensation brings narrative. We have to avoid the lazy branding that if you're paid, you're professional. So I know in college sports, because I experienced it, it provides life-changing opportunities for hundreds of thousands of young people. And Any solution must protect that. Like the NCAA, we look forward to working with student athletes, lawmakers, and leadership to get on a path that enhances, not erodes, what makes college sports so special. We also have to tackle the transfer portal. I want to thank our coaches, many of them in the room. I want to thank Coach Munkin, who's our AFCA representative, for their leadership, because this is a national conversation. It takes guts to put yourself out there and have an opinion. So we're putting it out there today. Let me tell you a story. Last year, after winning our football championship, Army was on the receiving end of the negative impact of the transfer portal. Instead of playing another league champion in a bowl game, which they were set to do, Marshall reneged on their commitment to play in that game, citing an inadequate roster due to transfers during the December portal window. A transfer portal window between the end of the season and bowl games. What the hell are we doing? The current structure, it's a threat to the game. It's a threat to culture. It's a threat to coaches trying to build their programs. It's a threat to young people, because constant movement de-emphasizes commitment and the true benefits of college sports. We need one portal window at the appropriate time of the year. Student athletes should absolutely have the opportunity to transfer one time freely. Coaches change, family situations change. It's reasonable. But beyond that transfer, maybe additional transfers should perhaps require the year in waiting. So let's talk about the college football playoff. Perhaps no better example in the industry right now of progress plus pressure. Rich Clark and I have some things in common. We both played college football, and when we stepped into our new roles, we each entered a CFP system that was vastly different from the one that existed when we accepted the jobs. So it's important for everybody to just understand the state of play. Like, let's educate the room on what's happening. Prior to our arrival, a legal document, the famed MOU that you read about, was signed by every commissioner in that room. And while I wasn't part of that process, I now operate within the terms of that agreement. One that grants authority to Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti and SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey to meaningfully consult with and act on behalf of all FBS conferences and college football to make decisions on what they believe is best for the game and for the playoff. That change, while legal and agreed upon, naturally centralizes influence and decision-making around the college football playoff. Let me be very, very clear. This is not a criticism. It's an explanation of how the system currently works. Every commissioner in FBS has the responsibility to ensure that the decisions that are made with the full breadth of college football and the ecosystem in mind, not just the most powerful corners of it. Tony Petitti is a strong advocate for his league. I have great respect for him and the experience and the passion that he brings to the table. Greg Sankey has long been one of the most knowledgeable and steady voices in college athletics. He cares deeply about the game and about the overall health and success of college sports. But in that room, we work for college football. All of us, including me, work for college football. Thousands of student athletes, coaches, fans. The collective voice has to reflect the entire sport. As Commissioner Sankey shared last week at Media Day, we have a format right now. The 12-team format that was positive a year ago in just its first year. Proposed formats such as the 4-4-2-2, whatever, for certain conferences, run the risk of removing a vital element.
Welcome to
It's table
Summer's
stakes, this
Rift.
element. For athletes, coaches, fans, the opportunity to earn it on the field. The excitement of what's possible.
30
Line
seconds
up,
until
play
minions
the games,
spawn.
like let's see where the chips fall at the end of the year. Let's not send a terrible message to student athletes that their opportunity is not as important as others. They have the same goal. I got news for you. These guys sitting back here want to play for the national championship, just like every student athlete in America. So I'm going to be clear about the American and our position on the format.
Minions have spawned.
We are supportive of a format that preserves our access
No matter your number,
and provides
I will
the
not
opportunity to earn more. We believe in a format without anything being guaranteed. The 5 ranked conference champions should continue to receive an automatic bid, plus a significant number of at-large opportunities, giving anyone the opportunity to earn a spot. Winning on the field, a true merit-based system. We are presenting the selection process, how metrics are used, how fairness is measured, how the system can evolve the right way. This is an important exercise for the future. Don't forget, the BCS does not fall apart because of the format. It fell apart.
Look, I'm holding the world up.
Confusion, favoritism, and protecting certain programs. History. That's what the CFP was built to fix. Let's talk about modernizing, protecting, and growing our business. And yeah, it's a business. Business is not a dirty word. This is a mission-driven nightmare. While the world of college sports, including me, debates the symptoms, collectives, NIL, legal, governance, the root issue remains unchanged. The economics of college athletics simply don't make sense. The business is unsustainable. It's undervalued. It's not been optimized. And I'll tell you this, optimizing it is going to take collective action. It's going to take everybody, and it's going to take guts. It's time to stop apologizing for wanting to generate more revenue. Running a business. Our business is investing in college athletics. College athletics, and I say this to all of our presidents every chance I get, is the single strongest marketing arm of any university. It creates more exposure, more interest, more applications, and more enrollment. In any business, you have to start with your goals. What's our North Star?
I will not falter!
It's a great opportunity for young people to play sports, go to college, earn a degree, set them up for their lives. I can say this because I'm a product of this system. And to this day, even though it's been 20 years, I'm a huge believer in it. Athletics teaches us so many things that will differentiate student athletes from everybody else. Resilience, discipline, how to handle adversity, being a great teammate, and most of all, what every parent wants for their children.
I've got a lot of weight on my shoulders.
Really thoughtful and very careful about building a future for only the 2%.
There's going to be a slaughter.
98% over here that demand ownership and a meaningful experience. That's our responsibility. With our clear goals in mind, here's a couple ideas. Instead of cutting sports and cutting roster spots in response to the cap settlement, we should be adding them by creating new opportunities, new students, new roster spots for full enrollment, non-scholarship student athletes to compete in athletics. Universities can generate tuition and revenue while deepening affinity, creating more and expanding the world up. This isn't just good for student athletes in college sports. This is great for the bottom line at universities. The industry needs let's add sports. Let's add spots. Let's get on offense and turn campus wide. Here's another idea. No single conference or private football firm in the world can match the upside of collective action. A common sense solution is to unify media rights across FBS, just like the pro leagues do. Dramatically increase the total and a financially sustainable model for the future. Like there's a pie, but the pie can be so much bigger for every institution. At the American, we're not trying to eat off everybody else's plate. We believe the autonomy for deserves more revenue, given the value they bring in television viewership, attendance, sponsorship, and more. But I've seen the potential upside of consolidation. I've seen the numbers. They're backed up by data. Revenues can triple. So after a After a year-long process, on Monday, we officially launched the modernized brand of the American Conference. This is an intentional strategic evolution of who we are and what differentiates us. And it creates a pathway to business growth, commercial growth, a bigger national presence, and increasing our competitive position. A brand is more than a logo. And you know what? Turn this thing on Monday, and I'll tell you what, 1,600 media stories and mentions. A potential reach of over 1 billion B people. We saw an estimated 3.5 million views, and most notably, generated almost $10 million in earned media advertising. That's what happens when you spend a year, get on offense, tell your story, with clarity and confidence and faith.
Look, I'm holding the world up.
And my entire staff of the American.
I've got a lot of weight on my shoulders.
It took everybody. At the heart of it, I talked to the coaches at dinner last night. We're not trying to be fancy. We're not trying to be slick. It's a simplified name. American Conference. A name our fans and many of you in the media have been using for years.
Holding the world up.
We're just going to proudly write it down. We've sunset American Athletic Conference. We've sunset the ANC acronym to eliminate confusion, sharpen our voice,
Hey, look,
and ensure
I'm
consistent
holding the
recognition.
world
I'll
up.
be finding people in the media from here to see.
I've got a lot of weight on my shoulders.
We defined our values: innovation, grit, service. That's who we are.
An enemy has been slain.
It's who we are. We introduce a rally called Built to Rise. This is not a slogan; it's a mindset.
I could do this.
Innovation is about your guts. Taking you first. It's about momentum and impact. And this year, we led the way. The American was the first conference to implement the league that our student athletes across all 15 institutions are supported equitably. We also introduced a new performance-based revenue distribution model to reward competitive success in football. And
This will be a slaughter.
excellence is expected, it's earned, and it's incentivized. And our revenue growth. We launched American Rise Ventures, a wholly owned commercial company. At the helm is our Chief Commercial Officer, and Kelly Sargent, our Senior Director of We're proud to be part of the We're grateful for the broad-based exposure they provide. We're consistently prominent across the Disney family of networks on national television. It showcases student athletes. It showcases our programs. We're also proud to be partnered with CBS, where some of our top basketball is showcased on broadcast television. Last year, 52 million people. 17 with many racking up 2 to 4 million viewers. The American Conference Championship game has aired on broadcast on ABC for 10 straight years. This year will be number 11. Army and Navy have been tremendous additions to our conference. Their power of their national brands were showcased last year, both competing against Notre Dame, both those games exceeding 2.5 million viewers. The Army-Navy game. Elevation. The American is consistently delivering value.
An enemy has been slain.
We're not stopping.
An ally has been slain.
Birds. And when we first explored the idea of the sky symbol for the
I'm
American,
holding the world
I
up.
tell you, I was skeptical. There were some arguments, there was some knuckle fighting, there was some scrimmage matches. We talked about symbols that are uniquely American. Nothing measured up. I will strong, bold. Soar went from this idea
I am your
symbol,
worst
to a
nightmare.
commercial asset, to a content creator, to a community leader.
glory of
Soar is the
Damascus
first ever
will never
conference ambassador brought to life on Monday, the American.
I've got a lot of weight on
a new model of conference branding that leverages innovation. I'm not going to say this is an original idea, but we're first in college. We're not waiting for this industry
has been slain.
We're building it. We're leading it.
You will find honor
and with purpose and thought along the way.
Follow my route.
Grit is one of my favorite topics. It has a lot to do with the way I train. But it's the engine in the car in this league. Like, we're not slick, we're strong.
I'm holding the world up.
And I saw it on display last year.
I've got a lot of
football championship in their first year. They were ranked for 10 consecutive weeks, including as high as 16, which was their highest ranking since 1962. They earned it. Memphis won 11 games. Navy won 10 games. Memphis finished in the top 25. We joined the ACC, Big Ten, SEC, and Big 12 as the only conferences in America with 3 10-win teams. Competed in bowl games. It's this massive program that we don't usually send out to ESPN. Sitting in our office. West Virginia and NC State.
An ally has been
Even
slain.
all of our sports. We saw UTSA this year ride to Austin and beat Texas, the
down.
number 1 team in the country, twice
I
to
am
win
your
the NCAA
worst
baseball regional
nightmare.
in program history. We closed the year by seeing South Florida. Their men's track team 4x400 relay won an NCAA championship. To put it out there, like, realignment is happening
I
every day.
am your
But I'll
worst
tell you what we know
nightmare.
about realignment. We know.
We're back here in Charlotte. Maria Tyson, Reedy and Golio, BJ Equal, and the head coach of local Golden Hurricane, Trey Lamb. Now, Coach, as we just mentioned, you made a couple different stops on your coaching journey, but what was it about Tulsa that made you say, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I think, you know, I worked at a place here close to Charlotte, Gardner-Webb, smaller institution, private school, Tulsa has right now, and you know, we've got small student body, but there were a lot of similarities, and Justin Moore, our director's new there. I really like him. He's a guy I really want to follow. I think he's going to be a rock star in the place. And I think there's been a lot of great coaches at Tulsa. When you go through the history, they've had great winning seasons. Now we got to bring some consistency back to that.
Coach, I'm always interested just to hear from coaches that are play callers as well. What goes into that decision when you become a head coach to continue to call the plays on offense? I know you brought in Brad Robbins as an offensive coordinator, but what went into that decision?
Yeah, it's just I'm not ready to give it up.
I love you being honest about it.
It would kill me to be on the sideline and watch somebody else do it. I think I'm really good at it. It's one of the things I'm good at. I really trust my defensive coordinator. I've been with him for 5 years. I really trust my special teams coordinator. So they can take those sides of the ball and run with it and allow me to do my thing. The hardest part for me is obviously I got to make sure I build relationships with our defensive players. And I try to go out on a limb. Just spend more time with them.
Coaches in the American this season. Coaches take over programs, new programs. You always hear culture, right? Changing culture. I heard you recently talk about process. To me, it's very simple, right? The process is kind of changing the culture.
Yeah, no question. I think, you know, I worked for an AD who really groomed me and helped me understand that the champions behave like champions long before they I really do believe that. Guys that do things the right way, go to class, execute in practice, execute in the weight room, and then have the same guys that we can just take care of Tulsa first and not get ourselves and then we're going to have two of these.
I am your worst
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Why was it important to you to retain him in position?
He's a werewolf in recruiting. I mean, that's just call it what it is. When he goes to Dallas, he played for the Cowboys for 3 seasons. When he goes to Dallas, he kills
Your
them.
team has destroyed a turret.
I don't want to lose those guys. Ryan's a great coach. He's only been coaching for 2 years. Reminds me a lot of myself. He was the interim when they fired Kevin Wilson towards the end of the season. And I think Ryan's got a great future ahead of him. I hope we can hold on to him for a few years. We also retained Dominique Franks. He played at Oklahoma, also played in the league for 5 years. It was important for me to get Texas and Oklahoma ties because I'm from the Southeast, and really have never coached out there.
Coach, talk about the team a little bit, and also, you know, Tulsa in the last few years hasn't performed the way he's wanted to. I'm old enough, I've done it wrong. You know, that's a 10-win program. They've got a lot of young players. They're sitting here, a lot of stability. What do you think about your team this season in this game?
I really like the togetherness and connectivity we have. It's really hard to put a team together in 8 months.
Yeah.
We brought in 36 so 56 kind of 25 are new. Strength coach did an unbelievable job of just creating discipline, creating connectivity, putting these guys in vulnerable situations. It's my 11th year in coaching. 6th as a head coach, and this team feels a little different. Hopefully we can retain some guys and keep bringing them back, and the consistency is what we like. And, you know, Ty Graham won 10 games. Deep cut. So there's promise there. We know we can do it.
Enjoyed calling some Tulsa games last year. Freshman, former walk-on, but to me, he never played like a freshman. Poise in the pocket. Is a better athlete that people give him credit for. What have you seen from Kirk Francis since you've been here and his growth now that he's your starter from a leadership standpoint?
I felt like Kirk had a lot of tools. I felt like when I got here, Kirk lacked confidence. He's been through multiple play callers. He's been in and out of the lineup. Kirk needs some consistency in his game, and I'm going to give that to him. I believe in him. I think he's a good player. I played the position. I know what it's like coming in and out, having new coaches, new coordinators. He needs some consistent play calling, consistent playing time. He's had 9 starts. He's won 4 of those. And I don't know if you checked, but Tulsa's only won 16 in 4 years. So 4 of those first so than some of the teams I've had in the past. At Gardner Webb, we had some good teams. We were first a couple of times. Even ETSU last year, I think we picked 3rd or 4th, and we're going to be like 13th or 14th this year.
An enemy has been slain.
And these guys understand what's at stake. They know we got to get good and get good fast, and they brought me here to win. I feel very strongly we can do that.
And on that point, the ever-changing landscape of college football, it's fascinating because for fan bases, you could be rooting for a team that won 2 or 3 games, but 36 players, new coach, you can literally do a 180 and turn it around in 1 year. Is that the way you do it?
No question, no doubt about it. I know it's frustrating for fans. It's frustrating for people. It's really hard for you guys. It's hard for the media. It's hard for the NFL. You know, the NFL scout system. But I think it makes you focus on what you have. And trying to don't turn it over. We keep it protected. We got a chance to win some games. I would be shocked if we're not in the bowl.
Coach, as a defensive line, we got to talk some defense. You talked about Josh Reardon and how you've been with them multiple years, Gardner Tennessee State as well. What can we expect from that guy at the helm of defense?
Yeah, you know, I took my time with that hire when I got the job because, you know, you're facing Army and Navy, so you got to have a guy that can defend the triple option.
An enemy has been slain.
And he did it in the Southern Conference, and he coached
An ally has been slain.
in this league, you know, for 3 years on defense.
Killing spree.
State last year and your last couple of years at Gardner Webb, you played championship defense. Why do you need to change just because you're stepping up in class? And you know, the more I thought about it, I really like the way he handles the defense. I like the way they handle the ball. He's simple, but also he has enough in his tools to to make it complicated for the other quarterback and the opposing offenses. So I feel really good about him and what we got going.
Talked about the youth on your roster, and this question goes for you, but it really goes for every program out there. It's got to be frustrating when you bring youth in and I guess my question is, what's the key to developing that talent, but keeping that roster retention?
Well, you don't put them on any all-conference list.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I think relationships matter. The coach is going to say that, but it's a gut. My thought is that they can't pay. So it's just a farm system that everybody has, and that's okay. Yeah. Football not an issue right now. I think it's going to progress by the hopefully we can get our hands around it. But look,
let's talk about the other two. Chris Thompson. He was a guy that was a veteran at how important was it, one, for him to be retained here, but then also talk about him being able to lean on a guy like that that's been at Tulsa, that knows what, you know, the city, the culture, and trying to turn that around and get into
yeah, I just think it's been the ball since the day I got here. And that's hard. When you get a new coach and you got it, you know, I don't know, you really get it off pretty quickly. First 2002, man, that guy's on the team. Duncanville High School stand up. He was a phenomenal fourth-quarter kind of college football story. Signed off as a DB, transfers to Southern Cal, and now he's a Tulsa linebacker. So you got two completely different college football stories sitting over there. You got a school, you got a walk-on from Tulsa, and then you've got a four-star from probably the best high school football program in the country in Duncanville. So really good story for both those guys.
How cool is it for you to have those stories on your roster and kind of make that together to go and try to make football?
It's really cool. Find their son's Range Rovers. You know, it's been like that since the beginning of time, and that's not going to change. It's the greatest team sport because that same guy has to depend on the other guy to do his job and execute, and that's never going to change. And guys get walk-ons and transfers. Guy maybe a 5-star from Ole Miss, 6'8", 320, or right back for Cam East. But he's also competing with a guy that was recruited to Tulsa as a 2-star. You know, once you get to the campus, you can only commit to one school. And once you get that competitive edge, like, you're going to play the best guy, period.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time. We're really excited to watch you and Tulsa's Golden Hurricanes compete this season.
Thank you, guys. Rain Kane.
Let's take a look at the schedule that the Golden Hurricane has coming up as we know after Christian to start things off. Now, sometimes
are the first ones to kick it off here at the Players Desk. Just first, how has it been being in Charlotte, and just what's your overall experience so far?
Charlotte's a nice city. Yeah, you know, I've never been to Charlotte. I've never been so far. They know how to CT and Coach Lang. You know, it's been a good experience.
And then I heard you guys got to baseball field. You guys get in once.
That's actually my first time swinging.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Speaking of football, obviously you just heard your head coach, Trey Lamb, but you brought into the vision that he's using for this program. What is it about him that is so
So, you know, as soon as Coach Lang got hired, initially Ryan Switzer kind of, you know, talked to me. He wanted me to stay, and we started talking with Coach Lamb, and it was a no-brainer decision. You know, there was no choice but to stay. I love both those guys, and I'm really excited for what they have for us.
And then Chris, for you, I mean, you had a stint at Auburn as well as coming from USC, and then you just heard your coach just talk about how grounded and how bought in you were from the first day he got here. What about him made you so hungry to stay at Tulsa?
Coach Lamb has a look in his eye. He's a dog, and then he has a track record. He wins everywhere, so it was no brainer to stay here.
And then he was talking about the culture. Obviously, a lot of new transfers coming in, a lot of new young faces. How do you guys get this team rallied together, and what do you see the identity shaping up to be as you approach the upcoming season?
Yeah, I think that started in the weight room with our strength coach, Joey Garasio. It started in the winter, you know, running and lifting, and I think that, you know, we have a great group of guys like CT on the defensive side of the ball that are leaders. You know, on offense, we've really rallied together around one common vision, and you know, I think it's safe to say that we have a great, really strong core of guys that are leaders, and, you know, that's just kind of propelled everyone else up.
And then, Chris, I want to ask you, we just talked about leadership. I mean, being a graduate student, do you take on that leadership as you propel into the season?
Yes, ma'am, man. It's not hard for me to take on a leadership role because it's a lot of young guys that I know look up to me and they want to be successful. So, you know, I want guys to lean on me and to depend on me. So it's pretty easy to take up that leadership role.
Let's talk about both sides of the ball. I want to start with you, Chris. We talked a little bit about defensive coordinator Josh Reardon, but what does he bring to the table, and how does he fit to the piece of the puzzle that Trey Lamb is building?
Coach Reardon, he wants to win. He wants to win as well, and he's a great leader. We look up to him, and his defense is NFL scheme. So, you know, it's easy to, you know, follow him and look up to him as well.
And then Kirk also, I mean, Coach Lamb calling his own plays on the sideline for the offense. How is that, having him there in your ear and being the head coach, but also calling the plays for the offense?
You know, it's great. We have a great relationship, and we've built that off the field. So I think there's a lot of trust between us. He trusts me with the football, and I trust that he's going to get us into the right looks. And then our offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, Brad Robbins, does a great job with us in the meeting room and on the field. And, you know, we have a ton of weapons this year that I'm really excited about.
You talked a little bit about consistency with you. How have you been working on that as you prepare for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think it's just being consistent in everything you do. You know, trying to take it one day at a time. Throughout the winter, it was getting stronger. In the spring, it was learning the playbook and getting familiar with all of our players and our coaches. And, you know, I think everything we do is just trying to be consistent and grow and to be better every day.
You talked a little bit about you guys being the little brother and playing with a chip on your shoulder. What does that mean to you guys as you head into the season? Obviously a tough schedule moving forward, but just what does that mean to you as you continue your play?
Yeah, we love it. We've been getting after it in the weight room. And when you're back against the wall, you have no other way but to go forward. So we love it. We take on a challenge.
And obviously an American Conference championship is the end goal. How does Tulsa get there? What are the ways that this team achieves that goal?
Yeah, I think like Coach Lamb said, just Tulsa doesn't beat Tulsa. I think that we need to limit, you know, stupid turnovers, penalties initially. You know, we have a great non-conference schedule this year, a lot of tough challenges that will prepare us for, you know, the later months of the conference season. And, you know, we have a really good schedule. And I think the American Conference is one of the hardest G5 conferences in the country. And, you know, you see something different every week. It's really a challenge every week. And there's no cupcake games.
I mean, obviously, every game is a great game. But do you guys have a certain game scheduled on your calendar that you're looking forward to or that you're excited about?
We take every game the same way. We don't want to overlook or underlook anybody else, so we take every game the same.
Yep. I think for me, just the first one, you know, getting back out there with the new team, new guys, new coaches.
Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Players Desk. Best of luck this season, guys.
Thanks, Hannah.
All right, thank you.
Maria, back to you.
Thanks, Hannah. We have one team covered and 13 more to go. Coming up after the break, we have the South Florida Bulls and Alex Golish joining us at the desk.
And a quarterback Deshaun Rucker. Guys, just welcome to the Players Desk. How's your day so far going at American Football Media Day?
It's been a fun day. Yesterday we got a lot of media and stuff with people did content, saw a lot of fans. So I think it was fun. My family's out here too, so they're representing me as well. So it's a fun time for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great experience. Just happy to be out here representing our school and representing our team.
Well, Cole, I want to start with you. Let's jump right in. What is the vibe around this South Florida team, and what can we expect this season?
Absolutely. So the vibe is that we're hungry, right? We're hungry this year, coming off of a 7-6 season with a 5 overtime bowl game win against San Jose State on Christmas Eve. So for us, it's taking that next step and closing the gap. For us, I definitely think a conference championship is in discussion, and you can expect a team that's hungry, that's going to go out there, and we're going to fight every day.
Absolutely. And last season, you helped the Bulls run for 34 touchdowns on the ground, but you lost 3 of your top running backs last season. What is the offense shaping up to look like this season?
So, yeah, obviously, you know, those 3 guys leaving. We have great new talent coming in with Cartavius Norton. I mean, he's been a great guy. He's meshed in the offense really well. We're building a bunch of depth at that position, so I think...
So T.O. being in his 3rd year, I think he's come well equipped with what he has, bringing in a lot of new talent as well at the cornerback position, just everywhere around. So I think he's going to keep that aggressive style, send a lot of blitzes, and keep us men on the outside and let us go play ball.
I mean, we got to start off and we got to talk about that tough non-conference schedule. How do you guys play through that toughness, and how are you both and this team, you know, preparing for that and for that challenge?
Right. I think Golish has prepared us phenomenally for this challenge. Every day, like strength and conditioning, player development, nutrition, all those things I think are the little details that help us win, but also handling success. So coming off that bowl win and coming in with the harder schedule, knowing we have those 3, and I think Boise State is a good way. I know they're coming with a chip on their shoulder, so it'll be a great.
Yeah, for sure. We welcome competition. We want to play. We want to play the best of the best. You know, we have a lot to show. We got a really talented team, so I think opening up week 1 against Boise State will be a great opportunity on a national stage for us to show what we're made of, set the tone for the year.
I feel like South Florida is always one of those teams that's just always so consistent. Now Coach Golish in his 3rd season. What do you guys hope to accomplish this season?
Definitely a conference championship, no doubt. I know for Deshaun as well as me, you know, going into year 5, it's been a long journey, and it's, you know, something you dream of, and I believe we're capable of much more. But I would love nothing more than to be able to host that trophy up at the end of conference play and be able to show that, you know, we're South Florida, we're tough, and we'll go toe-to-toe with anybody.
Right.
And how do you get there? I mean, it's one thing to say that you want to be there. Obviously, you guys have the fight, you have the hunger, but how does this team get there, and what have you guys been doing in the offseason to get you there in this upcoming fall?
I think the biggest thing is talking with player development, so going over last year. So a big thing we talk about is loving the process. So everybody looks at their end goal, but I think the process is the biggest thing. So once you love that process, you get game by game, and once you do that, I think you'll be the best version of yourself.
And then obviously we got to talk about the quarterback situation. I mean, Byron Brown back and healthy, hopefully this season, but how was that adjusting to his injury last season and now having him back here for this upcoming fall?
Sure. Obviously, anytime your starting quarterback goes down, you know, it's not ideal at all, but we were very fortunate to have Bryce Archie as our backup, who he was, you know, more than ready to go. He seized the moment. There was I didn't feel any drop off in terms of performance. He stepped up. He's always been a vocal leader. He's a great guy, and I thought that he did a great job, you know, leading the team and kind of carrying us into the way that the season ended.
I mean, and Cole, not only is he a leader, but you're a leader too. You've been a veteran on this team. Will you just talk about the weight that you feel as a leader for the
Absolutely. I mean, it's every day. That's the first thing on my mind when I get out of bed is I got to be my best every single day for not only for my coaches, but my teammates as well. And if I'm not giving 100% and I'm not ready to roll at any time of the day, I'm cheating everybody. So it's definitely an honor. You know, it's definitely a weight to carry, but I welcome it. I embrace it, and I'm just honored to be seen as a leader on this team.
And then, Deshaun, what about you? Do you feel that weight of leadership as you head into the season?
This year, honestly, I don't have any weight on my shoulders right now. I think last year it was a little harder being my first year with the Bulls, and Coach Golish would get on me like, you're a dude, you can talk. But now I think it's easier because I'm connected with everybody, offense, defense, and even special teams. So just hanging out with the guys, we might go out and do things, or just even in the locker room. So I think it's a lot easier to speak up and be vocal in front of my team just because of that connection I have with them.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that you get to that conference championship. And guys, thank you so much for joining me here at the Players Fest. I hope you have a great rest of your time here in Charlotte. Maria, back to you.
Thanks, Hannah. Now, what the players and Hannah just discussed was the South Florida Bulls schedule. And look at those first three games. Boise State, Florida, Miami, right off the bat. Now, both of you played college football. If that's your first 3 weeks, how are you preparing for that? Walk me through it. How'd that go?
As Coach would always say, take it a game at a time, 1 week at a time. You can't be looking forward to playing at Florida, at Miami. You have to worry about Boise State first and foremost. You can't look far ahead into the schedule, because if you do that, you're going to be out of whack, right? So lock into who you have that week. Prepare that week to win that game. You can't worry about games in the future. You can't worry about tomorrow's problems tomorrow. Worry about those tomorrow. Worry about what you got that specific week.
I agree wholeheartedly. You have to just concentrate on Boise State. And I'm going to ask Coach Golish when he gets to our set, who do you make mad to get those two? Because it'd be a tough schedule with those 3 teams on it, at least spread out. But boy,
back to
get them 1, 2, and 3. But listen, you got to embrace it as a player, as a program, and be up to the challenge. I mean, they have, as a player, and Lige, you know this too, you want those games.
Yeah.
Right,
you
right.
want those nationally televised games. You want the opportunity to knock off teams where people are thinking you're not going to beat them. So they'll embrace it for sure.
And not only those first 3 games, when you look at just the American Conference, at Navy, at Memphis, 2 teams that we touted to potentially be 2 of the top teams in the conference. So they have a gauntlet of a schedule, and you can't look into the future. If you're Coach Alex Golish, you just tell your team, let's worry about this game this week. We'll worry about those games when we get to those weeks.
And here's the one way that I would look at it too, is how does that prepare you then for when you play teams that maybe aren't of that caliber? So do you think that's maybe intentional? Maybe it makes someone mad, Rini. Maybe it was intentional, right? He was like, maybe I'll prepare my team for those postseason games.
Well, first and foremost, the coaches never have any say of like when the games are played. Sometimes they get to say, but these schedules are made years in advance. I'm sure if we ask him, he wouldn't take them 1, 2, 3 like that. But to your point, though, I think inevitably when you play tough out-of-conference matchups, it does get you ready for tough conference play. And we talked about the American from top to bottom is a tough conference. So, yes, those tough games will get you ready. Hopefully you come out of the winning end of them.
Correct. And you're battle-tested when you get ready to go into conference play. I think that's the biggest thing when you look at some of these games early on in the year. Yes, it's a gauntlet of a schedule for USF, but once they come out of those 3 games to get ready for conference play, they'll be prepared because they've played upper echelon talent. They'll be prepared. They have gone through the trenches. They'll have gone through war with some of those teams in the early parts of the season that will hopefully propel them when they play at a Memphis, at a Navy later on in the season. And those are tough programs to play on the road against.
And I gave them the kiss of death last year because they were my kind of underdog sleeper to win the dark horse. Because after what
no one wants to be picked by Rini today.
After what Byron Brown did in 23, I said, man, he's going to be unstoppable. I think they're going to win the American. They're the sleeper to win the American. And they ended up when I say underachieving, Byron Brown goes out with a hurt leg, and then just kind of, and Bryce Archie did step in and do a really nice job. But you lose your starting quarterback that had over 4,100 total yards and 37 touchdowns, it's just going to throw you off kilter. So USF fans, don't worry, I'm not going to pick them to win, so you're probably going to win it this year.
And to that point, right, their center Cole Best talked about that. Anytime you lose your starting quarterback, it hurts, right? But they had a guy in Bryce Archie that was able and willing to step up. So, again, not only battle-tested when it comes schedule-wise, this team is battle-tested because they played most of the season last year without their starting quarterback, and they had success. You talked about it. 5 out of the last 7 games they won, including that 5-time overtime thriller versus San Jose State to win the bowl game.
And will there be a quarterback battle? I'm interested to ask Coach Golish that, or will we all see on national television together who he rolls out against Boise State?
Maybe he'll tell us one thing, and then he'll just surprise everyone in that first game.
It's been done before.
Hey, I love it. That's why we love college football.
Sure.
Let's talk about that first game, though. You said 1 game at a time. Boise State, how does South Florida win it?
To me, you have to be able to take care of the football and not give up the explosive plays. Todd Orlando, their defensive coordinator, I thought he had a really good game plan the last 7 games of the season. Maybe besides that Rice game and San Jose State game, the defense played really well. Even the game I called versus Memphis, like that defense kept them in the game because that was Bryce Archie's first start. And you know this, Rennie, your first time going out there, more specifically at the quarterback position, there's gonna be some butterflies. You're gonna have some jitters about you, right? And Bryce Archie and the offense struggled a little bit, but that defense with Jalen Schuler, Matt Harris, they kept them in that game. So to me, right now, Byron Brown coming off the injury, you got some veterans on your defense. Lean on that defense early on in the season.
And I think that was the frustrating thing for defensive coordinator Todd Orlando last year is because the defense showed glimpses of excellence, but it was like Jekyll and Hyde. Up and down, so they just need to fix that, and they'll be good. And then I called a Boise State game last year, so I saw them in person. They're going to do the same thing they did last year. They're going to pound the rock. They're going to run the ball. Their quarterback's back. They return a lot of guys, so you got to play great defense. But I think USF has to establish a running game, too. I know a lot of people say that, but they lost their top 3 running back. They got Norton, I believe, from Charlotte. He also had time at Iowa State, so they can plug him in there as well. But they got to establish the run.
We'll talk more about the run game later, and we'll also discuss defense with head coach Alex Golesh. And BJ, I know you love to talk defense, so let's break down a little bit of that South Florida defense right now. You already mentioned Schuler and Harris, but what else has stood out to you about those Bulls?
The Schuler, who we just talked about, probably one of the better linebackers in the American Conference. So, again, a lot of veterans on this defensive side. Byron Brown working back his way from injury. You got some new playmakers on the offense you're trying to work in. I think they can lean on this defense early on in the season.
We'll break down a little bit more defense, and we'll talk to head coach Alex Golesh of the South Florida Bulls after the break. 3 games on your schedule, and so how do you get your team ready to play some of those top non-conference opponents?
Yeah, I think what's awesome about it is when we got back in January, because that's when it starts. I mean, that's when the foundation starts to get laid for this season. There's been a heightened sense of awareness, heightened sense of readiness. It's so easy to say, man, like August 28th, you got a top 4 seeded playoff team coming into Tampa, coming into Ray J. What are you going to do today? And so I think it's allowed us to really point to it. And I'm not huge on pointing ahead too much at all, actually, but it's been easy. It's been in the back of their minds. And I think what's awesome, and it's not just a recruiting pitch, but as a competitor, if you're recruiting the right guys and that culture in that locker room is right, man, don't you want to come play the best teams in the country and be on display? And you look at the last 2 years for us as we've started to try to figure out what we are, what our identity is, how do we win football games? We've had zero problem getting up to go play some of the best teams in the country. And so our guys are uber confident right now, but I think it's real confidence because they've had this heightened sense of awareness since January.
Coach, let's talk about your quarterback, Byron Brown. Obviously got hurt last year, coming off the leg injury, participated in the spring ball, didn't play in the game because of a hamstring. Where is he at health-wise right now for you guys?
Yeah, Byron's really healthy. The spring was awesome for him to start to build confidence back up. I think anytime you break a bone, especially when it's in your leg and you're a guy that counts on your legs at a high level, it was going to take time. It was going to take time to get his confidence back. It was going to take time for him to really believe he could play like he has. And he's taken a ton of time this spring, this summer, to really go back and perfect his craft in terms of the playbook, in terms of his own body, and really his leadership. It's been awesome. He's been a really, really confident version of him, and we need him to be. I think his best trait is that he is so competitive, and he's so process driven. He's easy for us to put out in front and say, man, be like him. And for him, he's really healthy right now. He's so excited. I think he left that field at Tulane a year ago with so much to prove to himself that he's just hungry to get out there and show the country the player that he is and the player that he will be this year.
So safe to say, though, that will be kind of like a quarterback battle in camp. You're going to let the best guy win when it's all said and done?
I'd be lying to you if I told you that we're not competing at every spot. For Byram, he's going to have to come in and compete just like everybody else. And it's not cliche coach talk. It's not at all, actually. He's going to get pushed by a really, really good quarterback room that he's got to come ready to roll. But Byram's never flinched since he's been here. Byram's never looked over his shoulder. Byram's gone out and competed at a high level, and he's going to continue to do so. And just like anybody else in our program, nothing's going to get handed to us, and he knows that. He's got to go play his best football. He's in his 4th year of college football. This is when it's time.
And what he did in 23 was incredible. Let me ask you about running back. I know you lost your top 3 rushers. You bring in Cartavius Norton, who was at Charlotte. He's also at Iowa State. But more importantly than that, you bring back Cole Best, who we just talked to, your starting center, and 4 other, I think, starting linemen back. So as a former running back, I'll be the first to tell you, you're only as good as your offensive linemen. So good up front, you got to feel good there.
Yeah, I think as a team, you're only as good as your offensive line and your defensive line, to be honest with you.
Build teams from the inside out, right?
You absolutely do. And the run game for us is offensively is our identity. There's a level of physical and mental toughness that as a team you exude when you run the ball the way you're supposed to run the football. And it is. We lost 3 seniors that all had earned the right to play and gave us the ability to have a fresh guy in there all the time. Those 3 guys were unselfish. I give them a ton of credit. You bring in Cartavius Norton, who has played a ton of football. Our offensive coordinator, Joel Gordon, our head strength coach, Gio Carides, were with him at Iowa State. So you knew what you were getting in terms of the human being. Got to coach against him at Charlotte. I bring that up virtually daily to him. We set the school rushing record against them a year ago. I'm like, now you get to come over and be a part of it. So, but Cartavius has had a really good spring, continues to, again, it's his last year of college football. He knows what's at stake. He's worked that way. We bring in Sam Franklin from Oklahoma, who gives us a bunch of veteran presence, a guy that had an incredible career at Tennessee Martin and also is in his last year, knows what it's going to take. What I'm most excited about is these young guys, Alvon Isaac, Nakai Davenport, these guys that we've recruited that are now going into their second year, that now they're also ready to compete and actually push these guys. The competition in there has been awesome. We're going to get ourselves, as fall camp goes, we're going to get ourselves a 1, a 2, and a 3. But I do think there's now going to be 4 or 5 guys in there that are going to be ready to play. And like you said, for us, it starts with running the football. It'll be huge.
Coach, let's go back to the quarterback room, because you had to lean on your quarterback room last year when Byron Brown went down. Bryce Archie really stepped up. Just talk about 2 of the younger players that are potentially going to back him up, Marcellus Tate, and then also Lachlan Hewlett, who actually had a really good spring game, right? I believe he was 10 of 11, went for 110 yards and 3 touchdown passes. What have you liked for those 2 young guys that are sitting behind Byron right now?
Yeah, you know, hit on Bryce. Bryce got drafted by the Reds last week, and we're all really excited for him. He ended up making a decision to sign, and he's gonna spend the fall in Arizona, getting himself started on his professional career. And at the end of the day, if we are who we say we are, and we say we're here to help these guys go reach their goals and dreams, I'm so excited for Bryce and his family and his opportunity. So you end up with a room that loses a guy that's played a ton of football, started 8 games. We brought in Gaston Moore, who just joined us this week, who came from the University of Tennessee. I had him at Tennessee for 2 years. I was with him at UCF for a year. So really familiar with him, but more so he's familiar with our system. I think he gives you the ability to go compete almost right away. At least it's not all brand new to him. And then you said Locke. You know, Locke is a young man that we've been on for a long time that came in January and kind of came in on a mission. And it's been awesome for him to learn from a Byram what process really looks like day in, day out. It's been awesome for him to go compete and have a really good spring game to where now he's got this really cool confidence about him. And in my time, we've had some young quarterbacks come in and play and do an incredible job. And so I think in his mind, he's going through it where, like, man, like, I got to get myself ready to roll. And he's done a really good job. We've been hard on Locke because we know the ability that he has both on the field and in terms of his leadership off the field. And then you got Marcellus Tate, who's going into year 3 in our program, and now it's time. It's time. And so those guys will compete through fall camp. I'm excited to see him compete. It's a bunch of really cool personalities in there. Those guys want each other to get better. And like you said, last year we had to lean on it. We'll knock on whatever piece of wood we got up here. That you let
don't knock
there
too
you go.
hard,
It's all, don't knock too hard. I got the memo there.
Break
Coach,
the desk.
I want to ask you one last question, kind of a 30,000-foot view of the program. A lot of people don't realize USF, you're only 29 years old as a program. It's a very young program. You got a brand new on-campus stadium. I think it'll be ready in 27. Tampa is one of the best cities in the country. So really, USF, it's kind of a sought-after position for recruiting and the transfer portal, you know, moving forward.
Yeah, it's
that was my sales pitch.
Yeah, you just did my
I live in Orlando, so
yeah, there's way worse places to live than Tampa. You know, there's so much positive. 2.5 years ago, that's what was being sold to me in my living room. You see the on-campus stadium. I think that's been a vision for so long, and there's not only shovels in the ground. There's actually cement laid down now, and I get to see it outside my window. I think just as important, this football operations center that we're building right in front of it. That's going to be literally as nice as there is in the entire country. I'm so excited where we landed in terms of the plans there, and that's coming along at a really good pace as well. You said it, man. Everything that's going on in Tampa, the city itself, but this university. We're an AAU school now. We're in the top 45 in terms of public schools in the entire country. What the market in terms of finance and real estate has become in Tampa. Got some of the best beaches in the entire country. I think you point to so much of that in terms of, man, look at how many professional athletes come to Tampa and stay in Tampa and live in Tampa, because it truly is an incredible place to live. It's vibrant, it's diverse, it's incredible food scene, music scene, like everything you could ever want. And man, like, you get to come do this as a student athlete, not a broke student athlete anymore, and you get to experience it. And I tell recruits all the time, I tell their families, I think our guys are never bored. There's always something to do, whether you fish, you golf, you want to be on the water. And I think young guys from 18 to 22, 23, they tend to do less dumb things when they're not bored.
Sure.
And so there's so much excitement right now around the university. There's so much excitement in recruiting. As we continue to build, we're going to continue to sell South Florida, but we're going to continue to sell Tampa. Yeah. And I'm so proud to be here representing the University of South Florida in year 3, where we're going, what we're doing. And the great thing is we'll find out really early in the season what it looks like.
There will be no time wasted. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me on.
From one school in Florida, we're heading to another one, the Florida Atlantic Owls in Boca Raton. We'll talk to them after the break. He's in there hoping for a fresh start. Florida Atlantic hired Zach Kitley, the youngest coach in the FBS, to lead the charge. His background of creating outstanding offense is what the fans in Boca hope will bring life to the Owls. We're back here in Charlotte. I'm Maria Tribal Peace, Rini Angolia, Lige Duzable, and that is the head coach of the Florida Atlantic Owls, Zach Kitley. Coach, welcome to the set.
Hey, thank y'all so much. This is great. Appreciate y'all having me on. Yeah.
Now, we were just talking to South Florida, and they talked about how beautiful Tampa is. Boca's pretty nice as well. You get to go to work with some palm trees. But besides that, what was it about Florida Atlantic that made you think this is the spot where I want to be?
Yeah, leadership from the top down. I mean, it starts with the president, and trickles down the chain there with our athletic director and Brian White. And like you said, it's not a bad place to live, but no, just alignment from the top down. People that care about athletics in general in the football program, and understanding that football can help be an advocacy for your university. And so clearly it wasn't too long ago that they were winning a lot of conference championships under Coach Kiffin, and it's a place you can win, and just a great place to be.
So for people that don't know, I'm 6'5". Coach is towering over me right now. That's rare. Not too many coaches are taller than me. I want to go into your origin story, Coach, because people may not know this. You actually had a basketball scholarship to Abilene Christian. Decided to change your mind and get into football, became a student coach at Texas Tech. What went into that transition, and when did you fall in love with the game of football?
Yeah, so for me, football and track and field are actually always my love. I'm 6'7", and so basketball just kind of came easy. And so I wanted to try my hand in basketball just to see if I loved it or not. But again, you talk about the word love a lot. And I never loved the game of basketball. I love football and track and field, with my dad being a longtime track and field coach. So really, when Cliff Kingsbury got hired at Texas Tech, I said I want to go learn under that guy and work with him. And I got my foot on the in the door and worked with him for 5 years, and kind of just made my way up as it goes.
Now, you've probably heard it a ton of times, right? Youngest coach in FBS. You have a birthday coming up, right? You're going to be 34. Do I have that correct?
That's right, yeah.
Man, do I feel old. But in a serious question, as a head coach now, taking over a program and everything you have to deal with, who are your, and you mentioned one probably, who are your mentors? Who do you get on the phone with when you have that question? Because let's be honest, you don't know what you don't know, right, until you go through it.
Yeah, I mean, number one's my dad. Like I said, he's not in the college football world, but he's in college athletics, and he's been doing it at an extremely high level. He's in every Hall of Fame you can be in. 31-time national champion as a team head coach. So I lean on him more than anybody. Cliff Kingsbury's my number one mentor that I've been working with for a long time, and clearly he's been elite at every level he's been at. And then my last head coach I worked for there at Texas Tech, and Joey McGuire. I mean, he's a guy that I lean on a lot too. That's been great to me and my family.
Coach, let's talk about your quarterback, Colton Van Camp. You had spent some time at Western Kentucky. I don't believe you guys overlapped at all, but I know you probably still had relationships there. When you were looking for a quarterback in the transfer portal, what made Colton the guy for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. You know, I did recruit him. He actually committed to play for me, and then I left and took the Texas Tech job, but had the relationship there. You know, he's a coach's kid. He's a winner. I mean, you're talking about Conference USA player, the Offensive Player of the Year last year, veteran, leadership. I know exactly who he is. He's a guy that we needed in our football program to come in and help lead the charge, you know, because I'm a big believer of a player-led team, not a coach-led team, and he's a guy that came in right away, and the leadership stood out. I mean, he's the kind of quarterback that's going to get in. He's going to work just as hard as everybody. First one in the building, one of the last ones to leave. He just got those leadership traits that was something I was really needing in our football program. And again, just going back to the relationship piece. He knows me, I know him. We know exactly what we're going to get from each other.
I had the opportunity to call two Canes games last year at Western Kentucky, so 3,000-yard passer, a lot of touchdowns. You got a good one. Staying on the topic of players, Coach, so you take over a program, right? So you come in, you're moving your family, culture, process, everything that goes. But then you got to deal with the portal, like guys in and guys out, and it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. You
but
know,
it's college football today.
It's college football, you know, and I'm a believer that you got to adapt. If you don't, you're going to die. And so, you know, I want to say since last year's football program, we had 55 new faces in the room.
That's what I was going to ask. 55.
But you know, it's all good. You know, it's part of it, and we got to get our people in that fit what we're trying to do now. You know, and ultimately, what's in the past is in the past, and we're looking forward to 2025 and beyond. So it's been good.
Coach, I'm interested to hear your philosophy on quarterback development, because you've had some good ones, and you've helped develop some really good players. Patrick Mahomes, David Swebb, Bailey Zappi, and now you get Colton Van Camp. Just explain what your philosophy is on quarterback development, because not only are you the head coach, you're the coordinator and the quarterback's coach as well.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you got to let those guys be who they are. Make sure that I'm coaching to their strengths. You know, everybody's different. You know, like whenever I just had left Texas Tech and I took over there at Houston Baptist with Bailey Zappi, who broke every record known to mankind in college football throwing the ball around the yard. But I tell them all the time, Bailey, you're not Pat. You're not the same player, and so you've got to make sure that they're comfortable in what they're doing, but you got to give them the ability to help you as the coordinator run the offense, and I think that's kind of what's unique about what we've been able to do in this offense.
Everyone wants to talk offense, and I get it. It's fun. But the line of scrimmage play is really where those games are won and lost, and I know that's an issue that FAU needed to deal with on both sides of the ball. So is that something you guys in the portal really concentrate on? We got to shore up our line play.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to look at a whole new, different team in the trenches on both sides of the football. So I tell everybody, the heartbeat of the offense is the offensive line. The heartbeat of the defense is that defensive front. And so we're gonna play with those guys, and you've got to be. I mean, you know, I could be here coach talk all day. If we can get after the quarterback with a 4-man rush, we can play coverage, and that makes our DBs look a little bit better, right? And then the same thing, if the quarterback can be back there patting the ball around and have 5 to 6 seconds to the football, he's gonna feel good back there too. So it absolutely starts up front. Feel good about where we're at on the offensive and defensive lines, because again, that's the heartbeat of what we're trying to do.
No doubt.
Well, let's stay on the defensive side. Brett Dewhurst, you had some experience with him when you guys both were at Texas Tech. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he's actually never called plays, though, at the college level. What made him the guy that you trusted to be the defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I mean, you go back to it again, relationships. I know him. I trust him. He's a family guy. He's in this business for the right reasons. Just a guy that I can lean on, that I trust. You know, and he knows me, and he's a guy. I tell my guys all the time on staff, look, I'm 33. This is my first time doing this, too. I don't need yes men. I need people to come challenge me, and I knew that he would challenge me on a daily basis to get the most out of me as well. I'm excited for him. You know, I had never called to play either until I went to Houston Baptist, and it worked out pretty good for me. So, hey, sometimes some of these coaches just need the opportunity to call it.
Let's take it back to the offense now. You are going to be that offensive coordinator and calling the plays. So how do you manage that, especially in your first year as a head coach as well?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm not a procrastinator. I get in early, and I get it in, and I go. I script every practice myself. I do everything on my own. But at the same time, I've got people around me that I trust that can do some of the day-to-day things with me. You know, I was able to bring my assistant quarterback coach and Trent Vasey with me, a guy that I can lean on all the time if I need to go do some head coaching things. I trust him to run that quarterback meeting or to do my quarterback drills while I'm over with special teams as well. So it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people and managing your time. You know, you can't just get in there and mess around all day. You got to get in and go to work, and I pride myself on getting in and going.
Thoughts on the conference, the American. Best winning percentage in bowl season last year, top to bottom, one of the most competitive leagues in the country. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a top G6 conference out there, no doubt. Like you said, from the top down, there's no gimme games. Every week's a dogfight, and that's what makes it fun. I mean, you know, it feels like in September you're playing those November games. You know what I mean? And so that's what's great. And you know, Commissioner Pernetti's done a great job since he's been in this role too. And we're just creating competition every week. So it's going to be a dogfight every week. And I think that's what makes it fun, because you're going to go in every Saturday and there's going to be no gimme games.
Yeah.
Coach, I want to talk about some of your personnel. As a quarterback, it's always great when you have continuity with one of your receivers. Easton Messer, you bring him over from Western Kentucky. How important was that for you to know that Cohen's going to have somebody that he can trust and lean on his first year at FAU? Yeah, huge. I mean, you talk about a 1-2 punch right there with getting Veltkamp and getting Easton. You know, they're best friends, they're roommates. A lot of continuity there, which is huge, and especially in this offense where, you know, I let the receivers have some leeway at times to run routes in different ways, and so they have that continuity, they have that relationship, and so that's huge, being able to bring in Easton.
You mentioned those 55 new faces. You've had some time to spend with them so far, and you're heading into camp, but how have you been able to bring all of those faces together? I know that it's something that happens to everyone now in college sports, but especially 55 is a big number.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all starts with our number one. I'm not a huge million things on the wall, a bunch of culture stuff, but number one is be a family. That's one thing that I believe in. Number two is have fun. So those are the first two things we talk about all the time, is be a family and have fun. And I think if you have genuine love for each other and you have fun while you're up in that building, I mean, I tell my players, your best part of your day, every single day when you wake up, whenever you're walking into our building, should be the best part of your day. That's my goal as a head football coach, for my guys to walk in. And I think it's just the environment that we have, the people that are in that building. You know, I think that our players, you know, you recruit the character too. You don't just recruit the football player on the field. You got to recruit everything that comes with it off the field too. And I think I call it character analysis. So when we're recruiting these guys, you got to make sure that the character checks out and you're bringing in the right kind of guys that fit in what you're trying to do.
And on that same token, I know you talked about, you know, process-oriented and how you get to work, and that's how you're a head coach and offense coordinator, quarterback coach. But with the landscaping changing, how important is it to have a general manager? I know some programs call it different, but to have those pieces in place off the field to take care of some of that stuff that you used to have to do, but now there's so much going on, and just try to alleviate your load, let you coach more. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I think, you know, whenever you step into a head coaching role, you've got to surround yourself with the right people. And so, again, I'm extremely proud of the staff we're able to put together, and you know, it starts with everybody: your chief of staff, your director of player personnel, your nutritionist, your strength coach. I mean, we could talk about them all day, but you got to surround yourself with the right people, and again, you got to hire people and let them do their jobs. You know, I'm not the micromanaged kind of type guy. If you're doing something I don't like, I'm gonna let you know. But I want you to do. I hired you for a reason. I think you're a lead at what you do, and so I want my people to do their job. And I think that if you surround yourself with the right people, all those little things you mentioned, they can help you along the way. Yeah.
I want to go back to your dad for a second. You mentioned how he's been such a great mentor for you, but what has been the best advice that he has given you, especially as you step into this new role?
Be who I am. Don't let the game change you, because the game can change you, and because you know, there's a lot of money in college athletics and everything else. Be a genuine human being. Love your family, love your players, and just be a good person, you know. And that's what I always tell everybody. My dad's the greatest man I've ever known, because he's done it for, like I said, 40+ years. A man of extremely high integrity and high character, and I think that's what makes him separate from a lot of people, and that's why he's been able to do it at a high level and coach at 2 schools only. And he's about to be going on year 27 at Texas Tech next year, so that tells you a lot right there.
It's a rarity.
Yeah. I love that. We'll have to follow him as well as we move along. In addition to your upcoming schedule, Coach, thank you again so much for joining us here at the desk.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Yeah, Coach.
Thank you. There is that schedule. They'll take it one game at a time, opening up the season with Maryland. Now, Hannah Brady has 2 Owls at the desk with her.
Thanks, Maria. I'm now joined with quarterback Hayden Veltkamp and defensive tackle Bryce Langston. Guys, thanks so much for joining me today. Just welcome to the Players Desk, and how has your past few days in Charlotte been?
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's definitely been a good time. We've definitely enjoyed our experience here.
And then I want to start off with you, Caden. I mean, you played in the Boca Bowl last season. What was it? Did you get a taste of the sunny weather, and then you decided to, you know, take on FAU? What was it about FAU and Coach Kitley?
Yeah, it was definitely a weird time, because, you know, I was in Boca to win a game for my last school, and that was my goal. So it was definitely weird, you know, going through that process and bowl practice and whatnot. And then, you know, as soon as the game was over, you know, my whole team, everybody got on the bus, and like I just walked over to the hotel for my visit. So it was definitely weird, but it was something that I felt like I needed to do, take my visit, and just be around Coach Kitley again, and it was something that I was very excited about.
And I know you guys have a past relationship. Will you just talk to me a little bit about that? I know you guys miss each other by a year at Western Kentucky, but just what about him and the relationship that you have makes it so special? Yeah, so I knew that the offense was going to be really good at Western Kentucky, and he was kind of the last piece for me. You know, Coach Helton recruited me, offered me, and you know, that was awesome. But once the offensive staff was kind of behind it, I felt like that was the place for me. And obviously, I missed him by a year, but I got to play for Coach Arbuckle, and so that was awesome. And it's the same offense, so coming here, kind of just get to be in the same thing. And so it wasn't a tough transition or anything, and me and Coach Kit stayed in contact throughout the years when he was at Texas Tech and whatnot. So you know, that was a blessing. And then whenever I got in the portal, actually whenever he got the job, I texted him, congratulated him, and then when I got in the portal, he texted me and you know, just asked me what happened and what I was looking for, and you know, this ended up being the right spot for me. And then, Bryce, I want to ask you, you joined the Owls last summer, but what was it about Coach Kitley that you kind of bought into this season?
Coach Kitley, I mean, he's just a great guy. I mean, just all around, just not a coach. I mean, he's a great person. He takes care of us, and that's really it. And then he just spoke a few minutes ago, but he said the mantra is be a family and have fun. Do you guys believe in that, and have you guys bought into that this upcoming season? Yeah, absolutely. I think today in the transfer portal era, when you bring in so many guys, it's hard. I think that's the biggest problem with the portal is all these guys have to come together and be a team in 7-8 months. And when you've had a team that's been together for 2-3 years, they have a better chemistry. But I think that we've done a good job, and Coach Kitley's done a good job preaching like we're going to be a family. And I think our team has grown really close through the spring and the summer. All the guys that we brought in and fall camp will just continue that, and hopefully start out well against Maryland. I mean, you talk about the transfer portal. I mean, 37 new faces, that's a lot. How is this team shaping up to look like, and how is everybody starting to gel? Yeah, like I said, we've all come to grow really close with each other. There's no cliques or anything on the team. Everybody's tight, and if somebody's doing something like going bowling or something, they'll send it in our team group chat, and 50 guys will show up to it. So it's like I said, that's the hardest part, and our team has made it seem like it's not hard. Just the way that we've connected and all become friends almost, and like I said, I think we're gonna have a really good team this year. And then, Bryce, 2 returners on the defense. What is the defensive side of the ball shaping up to look like this upcoming season? It's really becoming a great defense. Like Caden was saying, I try to, interact with the guys, make it like all as one, not like a click thing or anything. So, because when we have that connection, we're better on the field. So, it really plays an important role of how our defense will turn out this year. I know we talked about it a little bit with our analysts, but Coach Kitley being the youngest coach in the FBS, I'm just curious, does that add another extra layer of energy, enthusiasm on the field, in practice, during games? What do you guys think? I would say so. He's always bringing the energy, whether it's in the team meeting, on the practice field, in our quarterback meetings, anything. And I think we really appreciate that. It's easy to connect with him. He's not that much older than us. But he's almost like, to me, he's become almost like a friend, and it's really easy to play for a coach when that's your relationship with him. Yeah, he's the most energetic head coach I've been around. I know he's young, he's still got the young legs and everything, so he can run around on the field, and it's really great seeing that. It gives me energy as well. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me here at the Players Desk. I hope you guys continue to have a great rest of your day and a great time in Charlotte, and best of luck to you guys this season. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having us. Maria, back to you.
Thanks, Hannah. Coming up next, we have the team that won the American Conference in 2024. The Army Black Knights and head coach Jeff Monken speak with us at the desk after the break. And then went on to win the championship on their home field. The defense was gritty and ruthless, and the offense was led by quarterback Bryson Daly, who broke the record for most rushing touchdowns in a season by a quarterback. Head coach Jeff Monken
Lại nữa rồi.
the American
VTV
Coach of the Year. We're back here in Charlotte, Maria Tribal Peace, alongside Rini Angolia, Lige Duzable, and the head coach of the Army Black Knights, Jeff Munkin. Coach, welcome to the set.
Thanks so much for having me.
We are very excited to ask you about all things Army football, but let's start with where you were last year. Very successful season. So how do you build on that momentum, but also just refocus your guys to say, hey, this is a new season now?
Well, it is a new season, and what we did last year doesn't get us any points for this year. I assure you that in college football, not being able to sign a guy to an extended contract forces you to change every year, and so new faces and new guys in key positions. But we got a lot of guys back. We got some very important pieces that are back, and I'm excited about that. Leadership being most important. The two captains I've got here with me today, they both do a great job, and so we're excited to get started.
Coach, you talked about that, new players in key positions. You lost one of the most prolific quarterbacks in college football last year in Bryson Daly. I called him Captain America. Dwayne Coleman was a guy that played in the Air Force game when Bryson got banged up. What have you seen from him throughout this offseason? Has he taken on more of a leadership role now that he looks to be the starter at quarterback?
Our players, they love Dwayne Coleman and have great respect for him. He's built a reputation throughout his tenure. It didn't take him playing in the Air Force game to earn that respect. Our guys do have great respect for him. But I was glad that he was able to take the reins in a game like that. It's such an emotional game. Those academy games there aren't bigger games on our schedule than those two games. And for him to go in and approach it like he did, a lot of confidence, and really played a good football game. And if we were going to play tomorrow, he'd be our starter. But there's a couple other guys that are playing that position that we have a lot of confidence in and we think are going to be good players. So I think there's some good, healthy competition there. And that's kind of exciting going into camp with a quarterback competition.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach, we were talking off camera. Your 12th season in Army, which is really a rarity in college football today, right? Yeah. Same coach, 12 years, same program. When I think of Army, when I think of your programs, I think of toughness, I think of physicality, execution, and I don't think you guys get enough credit. In this era of the transfer portal, right, where coaches are like, I'm going to fill some holes, let me go in the portal like it's free agency. You're about player development, and I don't think you get enough credit for that because you're inevitably there's going to be one or two names that are going to come out of nowhere to us, but not to you, that are going to excel this year.
There are, and our coaches do a great job. Our strength staff does a great job, but the credit goes to our players. None of our guys are 3, 4, 5-star prospects. We're not in the same recruiting conversations with everybody else. Even the coaches in this room. I don't know that we have anybody on our team that had a scholarship offer at one of these schools. We battle with the other academies a lot. Certainly the Army and Navy rivalry extends into recruiting as well.
Sure.
But these guys work really, really hard, and they take a lot of pride in the way we play. And I appreciate you saying that you feel like we're tough and we execute and have those things going for us. But you're gonna at some point have to make a play against a guy that's really talented, and our guys work really hard at their skill development, and our coaches do a great job of teaching fundamentals, and we have to execute at a really high level the fundamentals in our assignments if we're going to have a chance. If not, if we didn't do that, we'd get embarrassed. And so I'm really proud of our team and our players and the effort that they put into it.
Yeah, Coach, I want to lean into that player development because it's rare for you guys to lose any guys. Now, you did lose a couple guys this offseason in the transfer portal, but do you feel like because most of your players stay put and they develop there, does that give you maybe an advantage over other college coaches when it comes to the transfer portal? Because it's not like you have to reset the culture. Like a lot of these other coaches, new guys, 30, 40, 50 guys come in, but that doesn't happen at Army because you guys have built that culture and guys want to stay there.
Guys have always been able to leave West Point before their junior year. That hasn't changed.
Correct.
What's changed is now they can leave for money. and so it makes it a little bit more enticing. But I will say just how much I appreciate our guys, and I think it speaks to the brotherhood in our locker room and the culture that's been created, and really the culture that our players they're responsible for that every day. It's not just the coach that drives it, it's the players. And they want to play for each other, and they have this sense of loyalty, and they want to help each other accomplish great things. And I think there's a uniqueness to that at Army and at the academies, because we don't have an open door to the transfer portal. If we lose a guy, we can't just go replace him. We've got to develop guys in our program. They grow up together. Our freshmen, our plebes, showed up on our day, June 30th, and they will graduate together 4 years from now. And the relationships that are built and the loyalty that's created through that shared experience is really unique. And I don't know if we have any advantages, but maybe it's an equalizer.
I hear that.
Coach, we talked about how successful your guys' first season in the American was, winning the championship. I remember doing a couple of your games last year and talking to your players and how much it meant to them to be in a conference, being able to play for a conference championship, but also be mentioned and be in the running for the CFP playoffs. I mean, that was, a lot of people think out Group of 6. No, that was very important to your players last year and talking to them. So how has that helped moving forward, being in the American?
For so many years, we really valued being an independent team.
Yeah.
It allowed us to be able to play teams from all over the country, major conferences. We were playing 2 and 3 Power 5 teams a year, and that gave us great exposure.
Yeah.
And it was great for Army. I really, truly feel like we are America's team, we are America's university, and that was an important piece to it. But with the expansion of the college football playoff, you have to have a pathway to the playoff. If you don't, you're irrelevant. And as an independent, not in a Power 5 conference, not Notre Dame, we were going to be irrelevant. And so, fortunately, the timing was right, and we were extended an offer to join the American Conference.
You're fine. You're
They
fine.
were the American Athletic last year.
That's true.
We won't tell Tim, don't worry.
And it was the right time for us to do that. I don't think anybody could have anticipated that we'd make a run like we did. We had a really good football team. We had a really great senior class, great leaders, and there was certainly motivation. It was something else to play for, and there's nothing bigger in our program than the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy.
Sure.
And we don't have it right now, and I'm ashamed to say that. But we've had it in our building a bunch of times lately, and that is the most important tangible goal for us as a program. But to be able to go into a conference, play for a conference championship, there certainly was motivation and an excitement.
Yeah.
Our guys just see the opportunities to be recognized as all conference players and to play in a league and to develop new rivalries, which are being created as we go into year 2. So it's been exciting for us. I was really proud of our team. Excited that we had a chance to play for a championship, host a championship, and win a championship at Mikey Stadium. So it was a special year.
And we were there last year. We loved it. Atmosphere was a little chilly for us Florida guys, but I grew
was
up in
cold
New York.
as a Northeasterner, but your guys handled it phenomenally, so I give them credit for that, certainly.
Well, there is no day in the Army where they take a day off.
That's right.
Really hot, really cold, snow, rain, sleet, you name it. They're going to be out there and do their job. So that's a representation of the men and women that serve in the United States Army.
Well, that brings me to a question that I always want to ask, is the fact that you are leading people who will go on to lead large groups of people and maybe even lead this country one day. So how much more difficult or how much more rewarding does that make your job?
It is a great reward. It's one of the reasons I wanted to come to Army, is to be in a leadership position at what I consider the best leadership school in the world. And we train leaders. The young men and women that come to us, they are leaders. They're leaders in their communities and in their schools. They're class presidents. They're on NHS. They're valedictorians of their high school class. They're leaders, team captains. But at West Point, they take these leaders and they hone these skills to make them world leaders. They will leave our school. They will lead soldiers, but many of them will rise to positions in our nation that they'll have opportunities to change world history. And that is an awe-inspiring task for us as leaders. So to be in a leadership position at West Point, I knew that my leadership would go beyond our locker room. That the way that I lead our players, it's going to affect the Army and how they lead American soldiers. And I never served, and probably now being more mature and aged, it probably won't be one of the great regrets that I have that I never served our nation in uniform. But in my own way, this is my way to serve these young men and women who will go out and lead our soldiers. So it's a great source of pride and sense of pride for me, for our staff, and for everybody at West Point.
I have so much respect for what your players and the people at West Point do. Coach, thank you so much for joining us here on the desk today.
And you are serving, Coach. Correct. You're shaping these young men. No doubt about it.
Yep. Be Navy.
Speaking of Navy, you'll see that game on Army's schedule. There's a full list of all of their games this year. Now, let's send it over to Hannah Brady, who has 2 Army football players, but also maybe some baseball players. Hannah, I don't know, you'll have to ask them about what happened yesterday.
Yeah, thanks so much, Maria. I'm here with the linebacker duo, Andon Thomas and Caleb Fortner. Guys, how was last night and being on the Knights field hitting some BP?
It was a blessing. It was a great time. The stadium there's awesome. You got the city in the background. But being able to take BP, I played for 12 years. But, being able to swing the bat again was a good feeling.
Yeah, for me, it was kind of hard to get back in the swing of things. I haven't swung a bat in like maybe 11 years. So watching Andy hit home runs, I was like, man, hopefully I can match that. But I only made contact, so that's about it.
He struck it pretty good. He's being humble. He was good.
I've heard from some of the guys today that you guys did really well yesterday, so you must be pretty good at baseball, but you're also good at football. Let's talk about this upcoming season as well as the last season. I mean, you come off a great season last season. You enter the American Conference and you win it all. You win the conference championship. Just how did you guys approach the off season and to kind of repeat that this year?
Yeah, I think it was just a special team we had last year. I think in fall camp, all the coaches and then even the upperclassmen could see how special of a team we had, and then to go in the season and just hope for a win every Saturday, it was really awesome. And then honestly, just our preparation every week is kind of what did it for us. Every play on defense, if we didn't do it right in practice, we would reload it until we got it right. So that's just how we attacked our practices to lead to the success we had.
Yeah, I would say last year was special because of the way we practice. We're really intentional, and how you play in the game is how you practice. And our coaches emphasize that every practice. So that's really where it started. But last year was last year, and we're leaving that in the past. And we're looking forward to this year, and we're going to try to top it this year. So.
Well, you say you're going to try to top it, but how are you guys going to try and top it? What's been the work put into the off season to kind of repeat last year?
We've put in a lot of work from winter to spring ball. We had a really good spring ball. The summer, we've really bonded.
And on top of that, we're a team without egos. Everybody in the position rooms helps out the people below them. At other schools, you have the starters that just focus on themselves, and they don't want the guys below them to gain an advantage on them. But we really take care of our underclassmen, and we just, like Andon said, we've bonded this summer quite a bit, and we're just really excited to attack the season.
Mm-hmm. And then you guys, last season between the two of you guys totaled 179 tackles. You're becoming one of the best 1-2 punch duo in the American. We just talk about the relationship that you two have specifically.
Yeah, so it's funny. We were the only 2 inside linebackers in